If you're running a Shopify store and want more control, transparency, or even better accuracy with your GA4 setup, you'll want to ditch the Google and YouTube app and use the method we'll cover here in this video. We'll start by installing a Shopify custom pixel using code originally written by Karol Krajcir and written about on the Analytics Mania blog by Julius Federovicius. This pixel is powerful enough to track form submissions and clicks, but today we're focusing on e-commerce events and clean page views. And the clean page views might not sound like a big deal, but the way we're setting it up avoids logging a bunch of URLs that look like this. Just as a heads up, we'll be using a very slightly modified version of Karol's setup, which has just a few additional fields in the purchase event for compatibility with my Google Ads purchase tracking method. And really, I just didn't feel like creating a different user-provided data variable, so hope that's okay, but I'll link the original one here too. Once that's set up, we'll import a tag manager container with everything we need for minimal manual setup. Then we'll walk through some important pre-launch cleanup steps to make sure that you don't accidentally track any duplicate data, because I have seen plenty of stores who are tracking duplicate page views and other things like that without realizing it. And last, we'll walk through how to test your setup to make sure everything is loading correctly. And this is an important step that I think most of you will like, because you can't use the tag manager preview and debug tool to test this kind of setup because of the sandboxed nature of Shopify's custom pixels. So let's get started. We'll start by setting up our Shopify custom pixel first. So when you're logged into your Shopify admin, you'll go to your settings menu in the bottom left corner here, and then you'll go to the customer event section right here. So I already have this custom pixel from my previous testing, but it's disconnected, so it won't play any role in our setup here today. So I'm going to add a new custom pixel, and for the name, I'm going to use this tag manager ID, because I also created a brand new empty tag manager container just to help us go through the whole process from beginning to end. So I'll add that pixel right there. Then we'll get this placeholder code. I'm going to delete that all with Command A. And then next, we're going to go to the custom pixel down here, and I'm going to use this button to copy all of it. And just as a reminder, this is a very slightly modified version of Karol's code. The only real difference is this handful of additional fields here in the purchase event. So I'm going to copy that here. And you might be wondering why we're not just using that data layer code from the previous video. Some of you might be wondering. And the reason why is because it's just not sophisticated enough for GA4. And just as a small example of why, you can see here in this view item list event, the way that Karol builds the product information here, which is going to get persisted throughout pretty much all of our e-commerce events that contain product information. But he builds this object here that has all of the product level information in it. And then he is going to have it situated within an array right here that'll go throughout all of our other e-commerce events. When we look at this purchase event example here in GA4's developer docs, we can see how Karol's logic builds out the item level data exactly as GA4 expects, with an object for an individual product right here, beginning with the curly brace, and then the array beginning with this square bracket up here, which allows multiple different products to be sent within the purchase event if applicable. In my version of the previous code, I just had this line here for items, which does not replicate that same data structure and will not send data back to GA4 correctly for individual products. And that's why I think it's so important to adopt Karol's version of the script. So it might be more information than some folks need, but it's super important to make sure that product level information is processed by GA4 correctly. And the previous data layer script that I was using, which is basically Shopify's default in their documentation, does not do this. So super important. Last, before we exit here, you'll want to go to the very top to about line 26 and copy your tag manager ID, and you're going to paste it right here. And if you don't do that, then this is just going to sit here. It's not going to actually send data back to your tag manager container. So now that we've done that, we'll save. And then before you click out of here, make sure you click connect so that the pixel itself is live. Perfect. Now that our pixel is live and our tag manager container ID is set in the custom pixel, we're good to start sending data. The next step that we'll move on to is importing our container file into Google Tag Manager. To do that, I'm going to go back to GitHub and we're going to copy this container file. I'm actually going to download it. We're going to download the file to our desktop because that makes it easier to upload to Tag Manager. And then we're going to go to the admin section here. And also, again, I'll mention that Karol has his own version of the container file that you can find both on his GitHub and on Analytics Mania. The main reason why I'm using a separate container file is because it's just a slightly trimmed down version that includes only the basics that we need for the e-commerce events and page view events. So I'll choose my container file right here. And just in case you have existing pieces in your Tag Manager container already, this one's blank, obviously, but if you do have anything in your Tag Manager container already, which you probably do, I highly recommend you use the merge and rename settings. Otherwise, you could end up accidentally deleting some stuff in your Tag Manager container and you don't want to do that. So if you use override, it could delete items, but in this case, if you have any overlaps, it'll just add a suffix to the name. So we're going to add that to the workspace, and perfect. All of our data layer variables that we need for tracking our e-commerce events, tags, and other items are all here in the workspace now. So our next step is to basically make some final configuration. And oh, looks like I forgot to include the tags in my container file template. So I'll update that before this goes live, but we'll walk through how to set up the tags here. Maybe that's useful. If you don't care about this portion because you'll be using the updated container file, you can skip to the next section. But if you want to see what it looks like to build these tags, then let's go ahead and do that. First, I'll click new, and we only really need to build 3 tags here, so this won't take long. But the first one that we'll need to build is a Google tag, and we're going to paste the GA4 measurement ID right there. And if you need help finding your GA4 measurement ID, basically what you'll do is you'll go to the admin section in GA4 and then go to data streams, click on your data stream, and then copy that measurement ID. So now that we have this, we'll say Google tag GA4, and for configuration settings, we're going to add a configuration parameter here for send page view, and we're going to set that to false. And we're also going to use a shared event setting variable. This is a variable that's basically going to send clean page view data from the custom pixel. And so this helps us prevent getting a bunch of weird sandbox URLs into our data. And there's also a content group field here as well. So we'll want to make sure that this is on our Google tag, our page view tag, and our e-commerce events tag. But we're setting this to false because using the page view tag is going to give us a little bit more control over sending our page view data correctly. So we're going to save this, have this fire initialization all pages. Everything here is good to go for now. So we'll save that. And then now we'll create 2 event tags. We'll create this GA4 event tag and paste our measurement ID again. And this will be our page view event tag. And we'll want to use that same G tag event settings variable from earlier. And then under triggering, we're going to use the page view trigger that we imported from the container. And then we'll call this GA4 event and page view. And then we'll save that. And then we'll create one more tag. And I'm actually just going to copy this one since I can recycle a few things here. We're going to keep actually change the name first to e-commerce events and get rid of the copy. So for the event name, well, actually, let's update the trigger first. We're going to use this e-commerce events trigger right here. And I wanted to do this first to show you that this is using a regex string of all of our different e-commerce events right here. So basically what these pipe characters are doing is it's saying fire this event when the event is view item list or view item or add to cart and so on. So it'll fire on any of these events. This regex trigger setup makes it real nice and easy so that we don't have to set up a ton of different custom event triggers and then create a very bloated looking tag in the interface. So what we'll do next for our event name here is we're actually going to use a variable for event. And what that means is that for any of the events that fire here, it's going to send the name of the event to GA4. So that's really another nifty way of just consolidating the amount of information here so that we don't need to have multiple separate tags or triggers. And we've got our event settings variable there. And next, we want to make sure that the e-commerce data is actually sent. So to do this, we're going to go to more settings, and then we're going to send e-commerce data, and we're going to keep it from the data layer. And then we're going to save. And that's pretty much it for our tag setup. Now that we've got all of our tags set up here, all of the proper variables, basically the way that we're able to just check this box and use data layer is it's going to be a combination of, well, it's actually just everything that we're sending from Karol's code. So there you have it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to publish these changes I think it's a good idea to write something in the change history just so you know what happened, and we're published now. Now we're almost ready to test, but before we do, there are a couple of important things we need to do just to make sure we don't end up collecting duplicate data. So first, we're going to go back to Shopify and we're going to click on the Google and YouTube app. If you don't use it or have never used it and you don't have any other pieces of code in Shopify that load GA4, then you can skip this step, but otherwise you'll want to go to the Google and YouTube app, and mine is already disconnected and has been, but if yours is still active, you'll want to make sure that you deactivate the Google and YouTube app, otherwise it can result in sending duplicate events. The second thing that you'll want to do is check your enhanced measurement data in Google Analytics 4. In this case, if you're not here, basically we got here by going to the admin section and then data streams and clicked on our data stream. And so if you're curious about what enhanced measurement is it's a way that GA4 is automatically able to capture data for certain events, including page views. So if you disable this, you will lose some of these automatic features like site search and video interaction, scrolls. Karol script does have some great capabilities for click and search tracking, and scroll tracking is not too hard to rebuild in GTM either, and we can cover that in a future video if you'd like. But I mentioned this just to say that if you turn this off, you may need to prevent duplicate page view tracking, because I have seen this in other cases. That being said, when I tested it on my dev site earlier, I was not getting duplicate page views. Now when I looked it up, apparently when the page view parameters are identical between Tag Manager and enhanced measurement, and the events are happening at pretty much the same time, then GA4 may be able to deduplicate it on its own, but it's not guaranteed. So if you want to be on the safe side and ensure you're not collecting duplicate page view data and you're okay with missing out on scroll event data in the meantime, then I would recommend disabling enhanced measurement. So I'm going to do that right now. So now that we've disabled enhanced measurement and we know that we're not loading GA4 from any other data sources, now we can go ahead and move on to the testing phase. So this is my demo site right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that URL and open it in an incognito tab just so my login doesn't affect anything. And I'm going to use Command Option C to open up the Chrome console. And so when you do this, if you haven't used this to test before, the reason why we're doing this is because the Shopify custom pixel is sandboxed. Google Tag Manager's preview and debug is not able to read any of it. And so in my opinion, this is the next best alternative because we can see all of the data that GA4 is receiving pretty much in real time. The debug and test tool in GA4 is another option, but I don't really like that as much because the data is pretty delayed with it. So I find this to be better, even though it is more technical. To make sure that you're getting the best use out of this, I recommend checking this preserve log button up here at the top, because as we navigate through the site, it'll make sure that all of your event data is preserved here. And you'll also want to type in g/collect into this search bar here to make sure that you're only looking at GA4 data as opposed to everything else being loaded on your site. So far we've gotten one event for a page view on the home page, so that's good to know. And next, now that we're on this product page, we've got another page view event that's loaded, and we can also see our view item e-commerce event is loading here as well. And we can see that it's loading the proper price and currency and the product here. So all of that is looking great and as expected. And if we add to cart right here, we should see an add to cart event come up, and it looks like that should be it right here. Yep, that's our add to cart event. So perfect. So now we can go to checkout, and then we'll see a begin checkout event populate here, and we've got our page view. Begin checkout should be coming in shortly, and that is it right there. Perfect. So last, we'll probably want to test our purchase event, just because I know that's going to be a crucial one for all of this. I'm going to skip myself filling out this form just to not share information on the internet, but we'll come back in a second just to make sure that the purchase event fires as expected. And I just finished placing my test order to this random address, and now we can see right here the purchase event has fired. Right before that, we got an add payment info event right here. And just to help y'all with some extra, I realized we didn't cover all these parameters here to extensively, but we'll look at the purchase event here and CU. This is going to be our currency content group. This is just for basically bucketed page view reporting in GA4. We have a transaction ID, the value that someone paid right here, whether there was any coupon, payment type was bogus in this case, since I'm just using a sort of dummy payment here on my demo site. But there you have it. This is a very brief walkthrough of how to set up GA4 on your Shopify site. And if this was helpful for you, I'd hugely appreciate a like and subscribe, and let me know if there's any other future GA4 tutorials that you'd like to see.